So then we go for like creating test cases. So in your manual testing front, your uh, practical oriented scenario, you will come up here like creating test cases. So that is very important. So normally as soon as you assign any of the project, what you will be doing? First day your project manager introduce with all of your team members, then somebody will provide you like a very high level idea about that entire project. So once they provide the idea about like entire project, second day onwards what they do is like they will share you some SRS documents or user stories. You will go to those user stories, then try understanding. If you are getting any of the issues, you will be contacting your project members for resolving the issues or clarifying those questions. And for some projects what they do is like some training sessions they will be planning. Even you can attend those training sessions and get domain knowledge. Then slowly what they do is like they will assigning you some user stories for you to come up with creating test cases. So for getting into any of the project they will give you like 4 months or 6 months of time. So within these 6 months you should get into that project. Okay, so that's how it works. So our next topic what we do is like for Gmail will take and try come up with like creating test cases. Okay, here another important thing you have to remember like for creating test cases, olden days people were using Excel, but nowadays most of the people, most of the clients, most of the projects going for like using quality center. But as of now if I go directly quality center you may not understand. So what I do is like I will go for creating test cases initially Excel. Okay, but there is no much it's very easy to come up with creating test cases by using any other tool. But first we see like how we'll try understanding what is test case, how you will come up with creating test cases. Then slowly once I finish up with manual testing I will take up quality center. So and I will show you create test cases, how exactly you'll work with your quality center or JL. Okay, so in order to come up with creating test case what you do is like you'll try following some template. So test case id, test description, test steps, expected value, actual value, result. For any of the test case if you take, these are mandatory fields. That means when test case is there means you should have these list. Okay, this one, these fields, mandatory fields. Okay, so then in addition to that author, author means who is creating test case. So him you can consider it like author. You are writing some book, so you are the author of that book, right? Exactly like that. You are creating this test case means you are the author of this test case. Creation date, which date you are creating, that date you will be mentioning. And then as you aware of like once you perform whatever the simple task it is, it needs to be reviewed by somebody else. That is a standard process you will be following for any of the project. So it needs to be reviewed by somebody else, reviewed by your colleague, or someone will reviewed by, then reviewed it. He will review, and once he review, he will give you the review comments. You'll update those review comments with your test cases. And while reviewing, what will be validating is like your test case is good or not, and standards. You have to come up with creating test case means you should follow some standards, right? So what are those standards? Like naming conventions, minimum number of steps you have to follow, flow, like that, different steps you have to follow. So that is nothing but like these are the different things you'll be doing. Okay, so then environment. Which environment? So exactly like that, environment 2. Environment 1 means like database environment. Environment 2 means mm, like browser or operating systems, like that. Okay, so this template is not standard, depends on project, depends on client, make it vary from project to project. Okay, that is another important thing you have to remember. And release. Okay, so then release like that type of test case type. Okay, test case type means like I will tell at the end of the session. Like this, these are optional fields. Okay, so like this, so many fields you may come across, but if you take your quality center or something like that, you will come up with hundreds of steps. So I will show you that one during your quality center. As of now, just you accept this is the thing. So okay, so Gmail, uh, we will come across like login, compose mail, inbox, outbox, drafts, trash, send mail, like that. So many modules we come up with. But first, we come up with creating test cases for login. Then I will give you assignments like how do you say, compose mail. So please come up with creating test cases for compose mail tomorrow. Okay, so I will review those test cases. Then what are the sessions I give you update. So like that, what you do is like daily you take one module and come up with creating test cases. So before starting up everyday class, we'll work on reviewing those test cases and enhancing. This is how we'll go for. Okay, okay, test case id. This is the module for gmail underscore log. So test case id, how you will maintain is like you have already thousand one you can give. This is one way. Another way is like gmail underscore login underscore 001. This is another way people use it to maintain. So however, this is one standard you should follow before starting up with test case creation in your company, in your project. They will define some standards, so those standards you should follow. Okay, so description. So what is the first test case you can come up with? Okay, so this is how you will come up with Okay. For Gmail, what is the first case you can come up with? Login. If you take verify successful login for correct credentials. Remember, if you will be into testing, documentation plays major role. You may get a chance to talk with developers, testers, architects, directly clients even. Whatever the documentation, what are the emails you are sending it out, or what are the test cases you are coming up with, or whatever the stuff it is, it may get uh, tracked by other departments. So documentation plays major role. Okay, so remember, while reporting defects or creating test cases, you have to come up with the standards, or you have to come up with the steps in such a manner clear and complete. Remember, your project may reside in multiple countries, but US people, if you take, communication is strong. Okay, but India technically strong, communication is a little bit poor. China or Japanese people, their communication is very poor. Okay, Indians having a mindset like they may feel like if you doesn't know, you cannot go directly and ask. So if it is simple thing, how will ask, like that kind of mindset we have. But US people is not like that. China or Japanese, they doesn't know means they doesn't know, they don't bother about asking. Okay, whatever the simple stuff it is. So that's why you should be very careful, like while creating test case and reporting defects. So very clear and complete steps. Here you can use verify successful login, but what is the type of data you have to pass, right? So that is important. So clear and complete step you have to follow. So you have to pass correct credentials and validate successful login. Okay, so verify successful login for correct credentials. So what are the test steps you will be using for this one? What are the test steps you have to follow? So navigate gmail.com URL, alt enter to go next line in the same cell. So enter username. If I give enter username, is valid or invalid, anything, right? That means, so enter correct username. That is what you have to enter, correct username for username, where you have to enter that username edit box, alt enter, enter correct password for password edit box, alt enter for click on sign in button. Okay, click on sign in button. So once you perform these 4 steps, what you are expecting, Gmail homepage should get navigate, should get display. Okay, and remember actual value and result. While creating test case, these two will be blank. Okay, you don't want to fill up these details, but like this you'll be creating test cases, then you're getting release. Whenever you get release, let us suppose you are having 5,000 test cases, 10 people were there, that means like per head how many, 500 test cases you'll come across. So you, whatever the test cases got allocated for you, those test cases you will be taking up and executing whenever new release comes up. So at that time you will be performing these are the steps. Okay, so navigate gmail.com URL, enter correct username, enter correct password, click on sign in button. Gmail homepage should get displayed. So Gmail homepage display Gmail. If homepage navigated successfully, Gmail home page displayed successfully. Okay, then result is pass. If home page not navigated successfully as expected, and result is fail. That's how you can work it. Okay, clear, right? So this is how you will work with your test case creation. So while creating, expected value and actual value will be blank. Then Gmail second test case, what you go for? Verify unsuccessful login for incorrect username and correct password. Okay, so verify, enter incorrect username and correct password, so should display error message. Error message like invalid credentials. Okay, so this is how you will work with. Okay, so exactly like that, what you can come up with next? Correct username and incorrect password. Next situation, incorrect password. Even in this situation should display error message. So incorrect username and incorrect password. Incorrect username and incorrect password should display error message. Okay, expected value and the actual value will be blank for time being. This is how you will come up with creating your test cases. Okay, another thing, another test case you may come up with like verify user interface for login screen. Okay, so first step is like navigate gmail.com URL, alt enter, verify for below URL. Okay, so put that here, username and password edit boxes to be sign in push button. Okay, forgot password link, forgot password link, and okay, remember me checkbox, remember password checkbox. Okay, so all expected UI should display in login screen. Expect actual value and result will be filling up during your execution. Only these are the test cases you can come up with for login. Any more test case you will left? Even both blank blank username and some password, some username and blank password. Even this also will come up, right? So, and still few more you may come up with in combination of like forgot password and remember me combination, like that you will come up with. So more than 20 you will come up with, right? So these many test cases you'll come up with. Okay, so first one is nothing but like what we say, under functionality testing you'll come up with like positive testing and negative testing, right? So this one you may say like positive testing. So these six you may consider it, okay, not these six. uh, okay, these are negative test cases, right? These are negative test cases. Again, these are uh, this is not the correct one. Just a second. So okay, so my point here is like, so these are uh, functionality test cases, but this is usability test cases. Okay, so these many you will come up with. Okay, so my point here is like our next topic is like very simple topic, doesn't take much time, 2-3 minutes it will take just. So types of test cases. So there are very high level 3 types of test cases you will come up with, like business, business logic based test cases, usability test cases, and input domain test cases. Okay, input domain test cases. So business logic based means what your business demands, means like functionality, performance, and security. Okay, so under black box system you come up with like usability, functionality, performance, and security. Even input domain, one topic you will come up with. Under input domain you will come up with like boundary value analysis, equivalence class partition, error guessing, partition table. So very high level if we go for these are the basic business logic based test cases, usability test cases, and input domain test case you will come up with. First you will come up with usability, then functionality and security in combination you will come up with. Finally you will come up with like performance test cases. Okay, so we come up with like usability and security actually, not functionality test case. Then functionality test case means you have to go for composable. So this is nothing but like your a simple test case creation task. Then what you do is like tomorrow I will be sharing this template to you. Mm, mm, okay. Please refer these test cases and come up with test cases for composite and send it to me before starting up tomorrow's class. So then we'll start up with review in test cases. Then we go for next topic. Okay, this is how we go for. Any more questions? So no questions means we'll end up our session. So tomorrow same time we'll meet up again. Okay. Thanks for your time. See you fine. Bye. Good night.